Hi there, and welcome to Alamo City Ambitions. It's my privilege to have Dan Sanchez here with Chale Fuego Cigars, one of the most up and coming cigar event um, operations here in San Antonio. I don't, what do you want to call that?
Well, Charlie Fuego started off as well. First of all, thanks for having me, Mike.
Oh, definitely, man.
I really appreciate it.
Oh, dude, this is awesome. I'm telling you, this is great.
Yeah, so Charlie Fuego started off as a fine cigar event type of business, but has now moved into branding. We've also doing some other things with some liquor stores. We have a distillery here in San Antonio that is actually where we're renting our humidors to them. So there's a bunch of different things going on.
Really? You're renting it out, or what do you? I don't get it.
Yeah, so I rent them the humidor, and then I
Okay.
actually put the cigars in there for them. Yeah, we take care of it on both ends.
Okay, that's. I gotta go there. Too soon. Let me go. Let me get a little further into this, and then we'll start messing around with that. But I don't want to. I don't want to just run off everybody off that fast. So tell me about it. Tell me tell me what it's like having that kind of business here. What are you seeing out of that?
Well, we first of all we just celebrated our birthday. Charlie Fuego's been around for 1 year on April 11th, and we're very happy about it. Very proud of it. Me and my wife. Um, when I first started it, it was uh, it was an idea to actually open up a cigar business, a business maybe a bricks and mortar, and we thought about it, we talked about it, and it probably wasn't the smartest idea for us. Here in San Antonio, there's a bunch of people that do it, and there's a lot of competition as far as bricks and mortar is concerned.
Got you. So just real quick, I'm gonna kind of got off on the wrong heading up, but you know, I'm Eddie Fischer. I'm your host with Alamo City Ambitions, and today once again we have Danny Sanchez. So we're gonna enjoy a good cigar. We're gonna tell some stories about our life, our family, our work, and our journey of how we find that perfect balance between professional and personal time here in San Antonio. So whether you're here for the camaraderie, the insights, or just to relax and chill out, we are definitely glad to have you with us. So one of the biggest things I like to say about this is coming out from the 210. And by the way, today I titled this podcast is From the Sidelines to Cigars. So
nice play on words. We'll get there, huh?
Yeah, we'll get there. So that is today's. The episode name is From the Sidelines to Cigars, and as we go through this, you're gonna learn a little bit more. Dan, I call him Dan the Man, always have. But we all grew up, so now he's Mr. Dan.
Hardly.
We're okay. We're okay.
Don't call me Mister, man. I ain't that old.
So today, so you grew up in San Antonio. So you were born in the 70s, right? In the 210.
Yes, sir.
And so once again, from the Sidelines Cigars, we want to put this path on our journey and point out what we're doing. So I want you to sit here and describe the cigars we're smoking today.
Okay. So what we got right now, this is first of all, Mike told me about this project, and he said we were just going to be sitting around smoking cigars and BS, and well, I'm in anytime. And we're going to smoke one of these cigars. This is a La Flor Dominicana. This is the Double Ligero. And this cigar is very strong. To me, I get spicy notes, leathery notes. And on the retrohale, however, it's very, very smooth. I would not, I would say this is a cigar that is probably for a seasoned cigar aficionado type, someone who smokes a lot of cigars, excuse me, a lot of cigars because it's very heavy. It's a heavy tasting cigar and it's very full bodied.
It definitely is. I'm gonna tell you right now. This is my first one on this one, so that's good. I really like it. I really do.
A little spicy.
Mm-hmm.
A little spicy up front, and then you got some leather notes in there. I'm excited to see what's going to happen here as we move a little bit further down the line here.
Well, we have some more. So in case we puff through this one.
Well, we also got the Charlie Fuego CF45.
Oh, well then I'm gonna puff through this one a little faster and hit it.
Take your time. Never rush a cigar, man.
That's right. Number one, the best time of the best cigar is your cigar that you have in front of you, right?
That's right.
So I guess a little thing of what we go like. So do you remember what your first? When did you start smoking cigars? When was that for you?
Oh man, Man, back in high school, I mean, I was one of those kids that got into a lot of different things younger, and tobacco was always around, and it was always a thing that we weren't supposed to touch. So if you tell a kid that he can't do something, well, Danny Sanchez at 15, 16 years old is going to go and do it. And I'm not proud of it, but it is what it is. And yeah, I don't know, man. I think back then it was a Swisher Sweet or something like that. And don't get me wrong, man. Some people actually like those. And,
They sell them for a reason.
they do.
I mean,
They
that's
do.
that's one of the things, right?
Yeah. So in either case, I mean, as I've gotten older, my palate's gotten a little bit more, I guess, refined, and I started smoking a whole bunch of different cigars. I tell people that come up to me and ask me about cigars, what should they start off with? And I say anything and everything. Smoke as many as you can. Smoke as many as you want, as much as you can tolerate. I find that a lot of people that are just starting off don't want to feel like they're smoking air. They do want to have some sort of taste. They want to understand what it is that we as and first of all, I'm not an aficionado by any means. I am a cigar fan, and I think what they are more intrigued about is why we love cigars.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you say it because I do have a couple of cigars for the wife to try
Mhm.
to see if just to give her a little niche into it, and so we'll see. We haven't gotten there yet, but they're in the humidor.
Well, believe it or not, about 20 to 30% of my clientele are female or women, and they're not looking for any kind of foo-foo cigars or anything like that. They're looking for something that they want to taste it. Like I said, they want to find out I guess, what the aura is about it, what intrigues us about it, why it's such a big deal.
So, do you find them getting more of the sweeter ones, kind of like the flavored ones?
No,
No, not getting
more
full bodied.
full-bodied Habano types. Definitely Connecticut, something like a Perdomo champagne, which is even though it's a Connecticut version of their cigar, it's by all means a full bodied cigar. Uh, they do like one of my best sellers is the Leather Rose, by Drew Estate. That is a Maduro type, but it's pipe tobacco infused. It's very very sweet, and believe it or not, you know, more men buy that than women.
Yeah, I actually like that one. I mean, then I like Drew Estate also. I mean, you can't go wrong with them. And for me right now, I think my biggest push is the number six. And man, that thing, it's a Rocky Patel number six. Uh, God, I mean, for me, that thing is just hitting right now. For some reason, it's like my palate. And it's not a bad stick. I think it's like $15 for and or you can get the shorty. I think that's a 5 inch for like $6 or whatever. You want to have just a good quick short smoke, whatever. Like,
And that's the thing, that it doesn't matter what it costs. It matters what's good for you, what your
hmm,
palate is. There's
true.
guys out there that you know want to spend $40 or $50 a stick, and more power to them. Um, I've never seen anyone that likes cigars put one down just because they found out that it wasn't what their price level was. So
If I pay for, I'm smoking that some bitch.
yes,
Fuck that. I'm like, I
yeah.
don't care. Hey, it's just like when I had to eat something I didn't want to eat. And I'm like, they put it in front of me, like you ain't getting off that table, so you eat it. So I guess it's resonated.
Well, I mean that's the thing too. I mean, if you don't like it, you can choose to go to a different. I mean, that's a wonderful thing about cigars. There's so many different profiles, so many different blends. They have, for all intents and purposes, they have so many different personalities. And again, it's just like you said, it depending on your mood, depending on what's hitting you at a certain moment, what you're pairing it with. Uh, there's a cigar for you.
Is your wife smoking with you?
No, she does not like it. She does like the way it smells, though.
Yeah, that worked. That's probably better.
She's never been a smoker. She's never been one of those people that smoke cigarettes or anything like that. I mean, that's not her deal.
Yeah, so I think like when I look back at for me on cigars, smoking with my grandfather, of course he kept those. He kept them in the fridge in the 70s. and 80s, like, you know. And I'm like, what the hell are you keeping those goddamn things in the cigar and the fridge for? But everybody like, I can see the label, I just can't remember it. I mean, I know if I saw it was a red label at the time in 70s, 80s, but he always had a pack of them, and he was like, "Go get me my cigar." And it was in the refrigerator door, bottom right hand corner. That's where they stayed.
My grandfather was big into.
They were behind my big reds, and he used to buy from me all the time.
He knew exactly, so that way you know where to get them. Yeah, my grandfather used to smoke the Salem's cigarettes, and then every now and then you'd see a Travis Club pop up somewhere. You know, the man, I don't know, he was just, he was known well throughout San Antonio as a police officer.
Yeah.
And I'm bringing him up for a reason. And, you know, I don't know, I used to take some cigarettes, give me grandpa.
Dude, you know, and I think that's what another thing we have in common. Like, your family's law enforcement. My dad was law enforcement. Probably what he always told me was like, you ever fucking call me from jail, you're asked to stay in there. Don't fucking call me.
Well, thank God I wasn't, when I was getting in trouble, my grandfather wasn't around to see that. I'm sure he wasn't too happy where he's at watching, but, you know, I didn't have to embarrass him like that.
Well, for some reason, I was like, just like you were like, you told me I couldn't do it. Well, I was gonna fucking do it. And guess what? Oh, I'm the one that fucking got caught. Everybody else ran.
Oh God, Mike, I'm the same way.
And I got caught, and I'm like, motherfuckers, like, and they are all watching me from across the fence get handcuffed, and then
AJ, my buddy AJ used to call me Bad Timing Dan. I was doing the same thing as everybody else, except I was the one that got caught. Bad timing. That's all it was. It was a little more than that, obviously, but.
So another thing, I think so. You and I met in high school, right around that time. Of course, through my cousin Chuck or my brother. Chuck and I are 19 days apart. We grew up together. We're always around. We were babysat together. I grew up on the house on Mulberry with him, and he grew up on the south side with me sometimes, and with Eddie and Mark. So my grandmother, which is their mom's sister, kind of a longer distance apart, but like we were growing up together. So that's how you and I met, through Chuck.
Yeah, and Chuck was I went to Central Catholic. Chuck was a year older than me.
Because that was what I was going to ask. So of course the big question is in San Antonio, where you go to high school.
That's that. You're from San Antonio if someone asks you what high school you went to, because I don't know what they're trying to size up or what. But the biggest flex for me is I'm from Central Catholic.
And that's a pride, because I was supposed to go there, and coming out of Mount Sacred Heart, that was my pride. I worked my ass off to pass the test to get in there and shit and everything. Right? It's funny because I tell everybody, I've traveled the U.S. and I've traveled into Canada and stuff for business, and anywhere else, it's like, where'd you go to college? What college did you go to? Where did you go to college?
Really?
Yeah, mate, especially California, fucking California. Man, they're like, where'd you go to college? I'm like, didn't went to Burbank. I graduated from Burbank.
Hard Knocks University.
Yeah, I'm like, that's where I fucking went.
The University of Life.
And so that's what I think about. It's funny because when we say like where we went to high school, people don't get it. And the other day I had a guy from Turner. We were talking. We're on the golf course, and he was like, "All right, the famous question is, where did you go to high school?" I'm like, "Well, fuck, where the fuck are you from?" He was like, "I'm from New York." I'm like, "How the fuck do you even know to ask that?" He goes, "Because that's the question everybody asks around here."
Well, he did his homework, man.
Yeah, so that's good. I mean, like I said, so you and I grew up coming up from that time. It was a long time ago, and I think we had a lot of fun.
Well, it was a different time back then. Back in the south side of San Antonio, off of Nogalitos, because I would have gone to Burbank also.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I lived off of Nogalitos in Bear Place, right down from the opposite end of Oscar's Taco House. So if you know Oscar's Taco House, they have the best puffy chicken tacos with wok. Yeah, I'm giving a plug. Hopefully they'll give me a free plate, and we'll see how it goes. But anyway, yeah, back in the day, we used
I thought they knocked that place down.
I was still alive and running. There's bullet holes in the window.
I didn't put them there.
Are you sure?
No, I'm pretty sure.
No, so I mean, we used to. I mean, it was just like, I guess, television almost. I mean, when the lights go off, when the lights turn on the street, your butt better be home. And we used to stay out all. Summertime was the best, man. And it was, we'd spend time at the neighbor's, house, or we'd take our group and go down the street, play a little wiffle ball against the other teams, or we didn't have enough players. We were playing in the street. It was batter, pitcher, knocker. Do you remember batter, pitcher, knocker, man? 3 people's all you needed.
I thought it was nickel, dime, quarter dollar.
Yeah, so we also had, in my house, we were right next to a factory where it had a big old wall, and we used to call that the Green Monster. And every time you hit it, it was a home run, man. So launch angles, we were thinking launch angles back then before it was.
Is that where you became a Dodgers fan?
Actually, yeah. My grandfather was a police officer, 33 years. He had a buddy who used to work the gate at VJ Keith. And for a lot of people that, everybody asks me all the time, I'm a huge Dodger fan, but they don't realize that I grew up on it, because back in the day, in the 70s, we were the AA affiliate
Yep.
and it wasn't the San Antonio Missions, it was the San Antonio Dodgers. I met Tommy Lasorda there. We got to see Fernando Valenzuela. We got to see, Sachs. We got to see Oral Hershiser. I mean, all of them went through there.
So you remember, this was also the stadium that was at St. Mary's University. It wasn't
Exactly
the field over there on 90.
No, it was
It was
small
St.
little
Mary's.
stadium right there on the premises or on the campus of St. Mary's University, VJ Keefe. And those were the best days of my life being out there because my grandfather would take us and we'd get in free, go in there and watch. And I'll always remember the time that I met Tommy there.
That's pretty badass, though.
He was great, man. I must have been 5 or 6 years old. I don't know.
Damn, you still remember?
I remember because
I remember. You remember?
I remember because I went to go get Ducky LeJohn's autograph. Ducky was the manager. I knew who he was, but I'm a little turd, running around there. I don't know who Tom Sort is, and I'm going up to Ducky, and I'm like, Ducky, sign my book. And there's this fat old man sitting next to him, just laughing and laughing. And Ducky looks at me and he says, I'll sign it, son, but don't you want his autograph? I looked at the old man and I was like, oh sure, go ahead, sure, sign it. And the dude's laughing and he signs it away, and then he looks at me and he gives it to me and he says, you can be anything you want to be, son. You can do anything you want to do. That's what he tells me. And I'm like, okay, thank you very much. So I take off running, and it wasn't for another year or two maybe that I realized, hey shit, that was Tommy Lasorda. It was awesome. But dude, fast forward to probably about 7 or 8 years ago before Tommy passed away, my wife and I were lucky enough to get tickets close to the concourse in Dodger Stadium. And I saw Tommy. He's walking up, getting to the concourse, and I'm getting ready to go. I want to go tell him the story. And I get down there, and just when I get down there, some little kids right in front of me. And, I don't know, man, baseball to me is for the kids. So as soon as that kid got in front of me, I backed off. I just kind of watched. And Tommy signed his baseball, and he told the kid, son, you can be anything you want.
That's his line, huh?
It was awesome.
Well, he stayed consistent, right? How many kids do you think he touched saying that line?
I do know. I've heard some stories where Tommy's kind of, he's kind of corrected some kids too. One of my friends told me that they met him at an airport, and his son went to him and try to get his attention, and Tommy said, "Now, son, I'm on the phone right now," and kind of corrected the young man, and so it wasn't always peaches and cream. The man, I guess he told the truth. I don't know.
I mean, you just can't. What can you argue? How are you gonna argue with that?
Yeah, exactly. It's the truth. How can you get mad, even if you're a father? I mean, can't get mad at that.
Nah, that's crazy. So we talk about that. So did you go to college at all?
I did. Graduated from UTSA. Got my master's from University of Texas at Tyler.
Sweet. What'd you get it in?
Educational leadership with a principal certification.
Hala frega. Excuse me. That means you can paddle somebody's ass.
No, I ain't touching that, man. Not in this day and age. In this day and age,
how many licks did you get, Danny?
Oh shoot, from the nuns or from
yeah, exactly
from my family.
Oh, yeah, I had Sister Alice, bro. Oh my god.
Yeah, I grew up in the South Side, Mexican family, and I know Spanish, but for some reason or other, I must have a mental block because every time I got in trouble, it was Spanish. So I don't speak Spanish very much or very well. But you put me in Mexico, I'll find my way around after a couple of days.
So coming out of there, what was your first job then? You remember? What were you doing?
Oh yeah. Coming out of where now? Out of Southside.
So what was your first job? Like
Chick-fil-A, baby.
Chick-fil-A. Did you work with Styles at the mall?
I did not work with Styles, but I worked with Palomero and Loper.
Okay, Lopi. No
yeah,
shot.
I did work with them. I worked with them both, and man, we had some great times back there. Chick-fil-A, North Star Mall.
Yeah.
Mike McDonald, I believe.
Yeah, I remember that guy.
Yeah, he was a nice man and care of us. But those were fun times, and talk about learning. What it's like to work, because that was actual work, man. Having to go back there and prep the chicken, and having to deal with all the different personalities and the people that walk through the mall, especially during Christmas time, was
Oh,
yeah, it was just mind blowing to a kid like me.
but it was funny because I didn't make it on the Chick-fil-A at North Star.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up at River Center Mall at Seafood Stop.
No, it's like a whole community, man. The work in the mall life is like a whole community. We were friends with all the people through the strip.
Oh yeah,
And there was, we'd meet them other places and stuff like that. It was great.
it was funny. I had everybody go like, "Fish, what's up, Fish? What's up, dude?" So all the girls in the Gap and the Limited. I'm like, "Hey, y'all want some more drink? Y'all want some more soda?" I give them fucking free drink all the time. Thought I was being cool with them. I actually dated a couple of those girls in there or whatever. That's all right. I think that if you look at the podcast between me and my wife and I, we were talking, and I was like, "Yeah, my life. It was good shit." And like, it was funny. I worked at the seafood stop. We all called it seafood stop. I don't know why. It's seafood stop. Get my language right. And I also worked at Foot Locker and Foot Action at the same time. So I had my striped shirt and then I had my green shirt.
There you go.
And the fucking one guy at Foot Action told me one day, he was like, "If you don't drop stock right, you're never gonna make it into this world." And you know what? Fuck you. You drop this fucking stock. And I threw in my green shirt. I was still work at Foot Locker, bitch.
I'll see you tomorrow.
I worked at Foot Locker. I worked in the same mall. But I think like we all have that mall life. I mean, if you didn't get a chance to work in the mall life at some point, it was kind of crazy. I think I had we had the best time there.
Again, it's we made some great memories back there. I can remember times where, I mean, it was seriously, man. And I'm not trying to incriminate anybody, but doing some weird stuff back there. And I remember old Julie having to take care of me, and I'm not going to mention the person's name, but me and that person were in the back of the house there, Chick-fil-A, and it was just one of those situations where it was better if Julie took care of everything. So she did, and she understood that.
You got this. I got this. Hold on. Thank you, Julie. Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that turns out. I mean, when you look at that, so and the importance of me turning out, like, what do you think shifted your life in a different direction? Where was it? Where was that point at? Do you think it was there at Chick-fil-A? You said, "Okay, I'm gonna start." No, after that, when you came out of college.
Absolutely not. I was not one of those kids one of those guys that had everything situated, ready to go. In fact, I was probably a little bit more immature than my classmates, uh, emotionally, whatever. I was double promoted in first grade. I guess I was pretty smart, I guess, back then. Either that, or I don't know, maybe the teacher just got tired of me. One of the two. But I went from first grade to third grade the next year, and that was kind of mind blowing. But yeah, I probably was just a little bit more immature as I was moving up, uh, through the school, through the different years and classes. I probably didn't start getting stuff together or start realizing stuff until maybe about 6 or 7 years after high school graduation. You know, made a lot of bad choices. It's the fact that I'm able to sit here is a miracle from God. It's the truth. A lot of people tell me, I've heard some people, question the existence of a higher power, and I'm just kind of like, man,
Why would you question that?
well, some people feel that way, and I don't know if they're truly non-believers or not, or maybe just upset. But I get it and I understand. But for me, there's only one reason why I'm here.
Twist your mic a little towards you.
Okay, how's that?
Just move the black part. There you go.
Right. Better.
So, we talk about what you're doing and turning that life decision. So, talk about your family history. What was that like? So, you grew up on the South Side. Did they go to Burbank? Where did your parents go? What was that like with growing up with your parents?
So, mom went to a couple of different schools, and dad was from Burbank. It was you know, my stepfather went to Burbank. Uh, Mama had me young. She did her best trying to get things turned around for me, and then eventually my two little sisters. So it was interesting. It was a we had a very happy life. However, it was one of those things where you don't know what you're missing because you don't ever see it. You never had it. So all I knew was being able to go outside and play with it with my neighbors, all my buddies and stuff like that. That I knew everything was okay. And we'd spend the weekends at my aunt Tony's, and we'd hang out over there at my grandfather's house. I love to go hang out with my grandfather, and that's that was my life, man. Being between my grandparents' house and my house with my parents, it was back and forth that way.
So one of the things that uh, you see, and you've kind of gone through that. And so, what did your parents do? Where they work?
My stepfather worked over at Kelly Air Force Base, and like I said, mom was putting herself to school trying to be a nurse, and she ended up becoming an RN. And she was very, very adamant about education. I mean, she did not want me to have a tough life, and she figured that probably my best chance was to get an education.
Yeah,
And I can tell you this, man, I broke her heart. I remember right after high school, after all the sacrifice she made to put me to private school and Central Catholic, and I remember breaking her heart, telling her, "Hey, look, school's not for me. I'm gonna get out of college and I'm just gonna make it on my own." And I remember seeing the heartbreak in her face. And we had a tragedy in my family where my sister passed away, my youngest sister Amy, and a couple of months of just doing nothing, man, doing nothing, constantly going out and not making good choices. I remember her and my dad decided to have a come to Jesus with me. And they were like, "No, you're gonna get a certification, and we're gonna go with you." That's what they said. "We're gonna go with you to get the certification."
oh shit.
So we ended up going, and it was at St. Philip's, and my mom ended up getting out. I think my mom had this hold over my stepfather. He'd do anything for her, and he stuck it out, and I got the certification, and I realized at that point that I could finish something. I got a taste of success. I realized that all I had to do was show up, suit up, show up, and follow through, and I could be successful. So the very next semester, I re-enrolled at UTSA, and boy, if you look at my transcript, it's a tale of two different lives. And the first time, I think I had like a 1.2, and then fast forward to when I went back, man, I was just trucking through college, and I think I finished with like a pretty high GPA, and I finished quickly too because I started putting two and two together, and a lot of it had to do with that maturity. I'm a little bit older. I realized that what it takes, and I was ready to at that time. There's some kids that just aren't ready to go to college right after high school. They're just not ready.
Yeah, I'm gonna say right now. It's so funny that you just said that. You just said a tale of two lives. In my notes, I have Danny Sanchez, a tale of two lives. I didn't even know that. I had no idea that was you were gonna say that. I mean, not that I was, I just had it in my notes for you.
Oh, there's some. I mean, even at that point, there was still some decisions that weren't correct or probably the best or the healthiest for me. And uh, God saw fit that I would finish my college. I was able to finish, regardless of those decisions. I was able to reacquaint myself with who is now my wife now, and we had two children, and you know, I ended up making probably the best decision of my life. You know, Probably about 6 years later, 2008, I got sober. So at that point, that's when things started to gained some traction, and I got into teaching, coaching. I got into I had a kid one time my first year, and she came up to me, old Morelli. She came up to me. She said, "Coach, are you a teacher that coaches or a coach that teaches?"
Holy shit.
Yeah, she's pretty observant. I didn't answer. I was like, "Well, you're pretty smart." And
It's funny you say that because I think that talking with you, this is where your parents and everybody had an influence on your development, right? You made those choices. You came in. This is the person you are today. And this is what we talk about. Like we talk about, this is why it's Alamo City Ambitions, because your ambition to finish through, see what you can succeed at, complete something, complete a task, right? I mean, it's like the naval commander that came on and said, "Why do you make your bed first thing in the morning? Because that's the first thing you can do and you can complete it. That's
yeah,
one task down.
yep.
Make your bed, right? Like, now I'm to the point where I'm lucky enough to where I don't have to be at the office at 5 a.m. every morning.
Mhm.
So I'm not leaving now. My wife and we get up at 6 and we get up and the first thing we do is we make the bed together.
Yeah.
Right. That's the task that we can complete. The first thing that we can complete our task together. And so when you complete your task, then you start on the next one. And so for you, your ambitions were to go through this, get that taste of completion, and then you had your parents help you with your development, right?
Yeah.
So where did you meet Teresa? Where were y'all at? How did that come about?
Freshman year, Central Catholic dance.
Oh shit! Where did she go to school? Providence.
She went to Carterworth.
Mm.
Yeah, she went to. Oh yeah, it was interesting. We were pretty
We
good.
all hunted in the same honey hole. It was in Carterworth, Providence, or Ursuline. Well, Ursuline at the time, but they're no longer there.
They were around back then. Yeah, they were. But yeah, we were really good friends, and I guess that's what it takes to have a successful marriage. You got to be really good friends,
True.
and be able to work at it, and work at it together. So I guess in football terms, we talk about pulling the rope at the same time in the same direction. Got to be. It's called alignment, where everybody is running the same thing. They're doing the same thing. We got the same goal, and everyone's got their job. And yeah, I've been doing football coaching. I think next year will be my 18th year. So yeah, I do have Charlie Fuego. Charlie Fuego. I don't know if people say it's a side gig or a side hustle, but to me, it's not. But I also have a passion for helping young people out. I teach government and economics at Divine High School.
Oh shit! Because my next question is, like, what's your role as your defensive coordinator and the Divine War Horses? And then y'all won your district championship win. What was that?
Yeah,
How'd that go?
that was we had a really good year this past year, and the interesting thing is that we had some really tough situations happen. We lost our AD. He passed away, and then I think that very same week, um, one of our better players, his father passed away. One of our senior players, and so the kids had a lot of adversity all at one time. And in Divine, those people all know each other. They've grown up with each other. That and probably coached a bunch of those kids as they were growing up, and those kids are like brothers, and they were all hurting, all of them hurting, and it was interesting to see how they came together and were able to get through the season and finish it off. And but yeah, it's one of my favorite places is Divine. Coaching against them and coaching with them because I've coached against them many times, and I always gave them my best because that's what it takes to beat them.
Yeah. So you were a head coach.
I was an interim head
Oh,
football
interim.
coach.
Okay.
Yeah, I went. I was at Pleasanton for like 3 years, and I absolutely loved my time over there. And but I have an itch to be a head football coach. I wanted to be a head football coach, and in this business, what I was seeing over those 3 years at a 4A school, a lot of 4A coordinators weren't getting head coaching jobs unless they moved into the slot that was vacated by their head. So I saw a lot of 5A coordinators, 6A coordinators get those head coaching jobs. So I took a job over at another 5A school, and I went over there, with the intention of being their coordinator for a couple of years and seeing if that would parlay into a head coaching job. Well, by the end of the summer, the position became vacant, and I applied for it, and got it. And boy, I tell you what, it's like drinking water out of a fire hose. Everybody wants to be the head coach. Everybody wants to have that, that title and sit in the big chair. But I'm telling you, man, there's so many different things that are involved with it, from the paperwork to the discipline, to the community. There's just so many different things that people think about. And don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it thoroughly. I still have the itch. I think if God sees fit, He's going to put the right opportunity in front of me, and who knows, I'll be the head football coach.
So, doing all that and trying to develop that, what's some of your stories that working with these young athletes and being able to mentor them, and what's it like teaching them teamwork and some life lessons? Like and it's hard, right? Because not everybody wants to listen. You got to get in their ass, and you got to put your foot in their ass.
Oh man, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't have done it. I would never would have crossed my mind to do it had I not had good coaches myself. I had good coaches that, you know, like I said, I was making bad decisions, but then these guys still checked up on me. They still, even even past high school, they still wanted to know how I was doing. And when I came into this program, I remember talking to my head football coach, who was my guy, and I had lunch with him, and he said, "Now, Danny," he goes, "don't be me. He goes, just be you. You're good enough." And he always, he wasn't nice like that to me when I was playing for him.
Nobody ever is.
But and then I got the opportunity to work for him, and I'll tell you, one of the biggest honors for me is whenever, because he calls me coach. He calls me coach. My coach calls me coach, and that's a huge honor for me to hear that, because to me that's a title that's earned. When we I guess when we put in the extra effort to earn that title, it includes, being there for these guys. Just right now, is responding to a text from a kid right now. Sometimes these are the coaches are the only ones that these kids see.
You're their life connection, right?
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Or you're their good connection, maybe.
Sometimes we're the only people that are going to tell them the truth.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good point.
And that's the thing. I think kids, I think they respect that. They don't want to have somebody blow smoke. They want to know the truth. I think they understand that and respect that. And I think the kids that I've coached, who have graduated, gone on to get jobs, get married, uh, you know, I think that's why they still call me coach.
That's so heartwarming, because I know, like, what that means, right? When you get called and you get those calls from people that want to help. I can tell you, I've had guys recently too, that and I was telling them, "Look, dude, I'm trying to help you. I want you to be better than I ever was. I'm trying to help you be. You want to move up in the world, you want to be an account manager or something, a service manager, whatever." And listen, and then he's like, you don't always, I would quit and just fucking quit. And I'm like, well, that's shitty. But okay. 2 years later, he calls me. I'm sorry. 2 years later, he calls me back and said, "Eddie, I'm so sorry. Now I see what you were trying to do. I realized that I walked out on you. You were the best thing that probably was trying to help me, and I shit on you." And I was like, "Bro, like, you made the decision for you, but I appreciate the call. I just hope you're doing better. And if you ever need anything, feel free to call."
Yeah, that's maturity too. That's part of growing up. That's part of being able to. And that's some of the stuff that I had to learn later on down the road. I remember early on in my career, you know, getting a job offer, and I wasn't happy about how long it took or whatever. And I took another job, and the guy that I originally talked to was, not happy because he was expecting me to take the job. And it took me a couple of years to realize, and I finally ran into that man. Oh boy, I ran into him at a coaches convention probably about 3 or 4 years later, and I went straight to him and I apologized. I mean, because I was wrong. You give a man your word, that's really all you got is your word.
One of the biggest things my dad obviously told me, he was like, when you're wrong, you bow down and admit it. Take your fucking that hits and lessons, and I'm sorry, that was me, it was my fault. But when you're right, you fucking stand up and fight. There's nothing wrong with that, but you got to do it in the right way. Just don't go fucking cocked off on somebody. When you're right, you fight the right way. Don't fight the wrong way. When you're wrong, bow down and admit it. When you're right, you fight for it.
Well, you tell the truth, and everything pretty much handles itself.
And one of my biggest things I tell everybody: the truth is expensive. Because I say this all the time. And when I hire people, I go through interviews, and even when I get interviewed and stuff. One of the biggest things you can't do, you can't lie about what your shit is. If you're wrong and you don't know how to fix it, ask for fucking help, right? And if you're doing something that you don't want to do, like my boss just told me something just the other day. Like, why didn't you come to me? I'm like, well, I'm trying to handle it. He goes, that's what I'm here for. I'm not used to having that, right? Because I never had that, and I was like, oh fuck, like I better go to him, right? Because he's telling me like shit. I'm like, oh shit, okay, well,
it's twofold. He wants the job done right.
yeah. Oh, he wants to help. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, he that's what he's there for, first of all. But in the second part of it is, it's his ass if the job isn't done right.
100.
So
I've been there.
There's two different parts there. Yeah, it would be great if you could handle it yourself and all that good stuff. But it's like those memes, right? Those reels where they say when you lie on your resume and you get the job.
Who's ever done that?
Yeah.
And that's what it is, right? Because I think that when I say the truth is expensive and I want to get it fixed, I'm saying, I was like, and I talk about this and dealing with project managers and stuff like that, is like, what are we doing? Like, why is the job losing money? You can't lie about it and say we're good, and falsify the numbers on month ends reports and stuff like that, where every month you have to, forecast and project your project and your job.
Yeah.
So you're giving numbers to everybody in front of you, and then all of a sudden the end of the job, the some bitch is like a 20% loss when you've been saying it was going to be a 20% win. But you don't want to get in trouble. You guys didn't want to get in trouble. I'm like, fuck, if you would have told us, like, there's a lot we could have done to help. We could have either done some stuff with labor, but you're scared. That's why I say the truth is expensive, because you cannot sit there and do that. And when you have your kids coming through you, and either they're running the wrong plays and they're running the routes, and not that they're expensive at that point, that monetary wise, it's a different thing later in life. And hopefully they understand it then, that they can start trying to fix that later, right? And ask for help. And that's one of those biggest things that I think. And I think that's where you go, right? Because your gratitude for your experiences, and these are the things that when you approach coaching, right? Because it's the same thing. Your gratitude for thank you. Like I'm not perfect, and I'm still not perfect in any means, and I'm doing my role. And when he gets on my ass, and I was like, man, thank you for the coaching moment. Like, thank you for my coaching moment right now, because I feel like I needed that. And if you're helping me get to that point right now, still in my life, where I'm navigating through, different positions in my career, and I'm no longer a director of operations. I'm no longer a general manager. I'm not handling any of that shit over there, but I'm handling different things. Like, my business contends on me doing my job, so that I'm putting food on the table for the masses. Like, we have to feed a machine.
Well, it's different nowadays too. I mean, and I can relate what you're saying to kind of what we're doing in the coaching world. I mean, back in the day when we were there, it was waters for wimps. You're gonna punishment for everything, up downs, roll on. I always joke that the reason why Central Catholic's football field, their football field, is turf now is because of all the rolling that I had to do and all the divots in the ground for my helmet. But nowadays you can't do that. You just can't do that. And I'm not saying for legal reasons or anything like that, where coaches get in trouble, even though that does happen. The truth of the matter is, kids have so many different things that take their attention, so many different things that they're interested in, and it's only gotten even more impacted with the cell phone and all the different apps out there and stuff like that. So we have to make it to where they want to be there. They've got to want to be there. They've got to see what the enjoyment is. We have to bring that out. We have to work a little bit harder to get them to understand that concept. And even if it means, instead of when a coach would tell you to jump, You don't say why, you ask how high. That's not the case anymore. Now we have to tell them the. Now we have to educate them on the why, and that's all. That's that's the kind of stuff that we have to do until that kid knows that we have their best interest at heart, and then that's when they'll jump. When you tell them to jump, that's when they'll run through brick walls for you and stuff like that. And I find the same thing in Charlie Fuego. I find the same type of situation. If people see me wanting to make their event the best, wanting to present a product that's going to enhance what they're doing and what they're trying to accomplish, that's when they'll come back. And it's being 1 year in, getting repeat customers, it's exciting. We visited with the accountant this weekend, and you know, he congratulated me afterwards. He's like, not many people make money their first year, and we're pretty damn close, and we're excited with where we're going, especially with all the lessons that I've learned. It's been great.
So let's talk about your business and what makes it unique. So the inspiration behind it with the Chale Fuego, we talked about it a little bit, but and your journey to build it, you're building it now.
Mhm.
So what were some of the challenges that were you were facing with family and coaching and starting your entrepreneurship? What
Time constraints, man, and being able to, the time management has always been an issue until when I decided to be a professional coach and teacher. That kind of gave me the discipline. I always tell the kids, discipline is greater than motivation, because motivation is something that's fleeting. There's some days where I get up in the morning and I don't feel like working out, but the discipline is what's going to get me through it. There's some days where I don't feel like driving down a divine, but I'm disciplined. I get my butt down there. And it's the same thing with these kids. It's not going to happen all the time, but the discipline will carry them through life. And learning those different lessons is what has done it for me.
and that's critical, right? I mean, I just love what you said, right? Because you find the discipline in what you're doing, and it's like getting up and going to work out,
Exactly what it is.
right? You just say I need 5 minutes, 10. I'm just going to work out for 5 or 10 minutes. Let me just do my 5 or 10 minute thing, and before you know it, you've already knocked out 45 minutes.
I don't know about that.
I mean, you're right because you right now in your mind like I'm just going to do 5 minutes or you're going to do 10 minutes, and that's all you really need. And that's the way I used to work out. I mean, kind of I'm not anymore. But when I did, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get my ass. I didn't want to go to the gym, but I forced my way. I'm like, all right, let's go there. I'm just gonna go do my 5 or 10 minutes. I'll get out. And then once I got in, I got warmed up. I'm like, well, fuck, I'm warmed up now. I might as well just go through it.
Yeah,
Go through
showing
my.
up, showing up and suiting up.
So if I could talk myself into the 5 or 10 minutes, that was just getting me there.
Bring your butt, bring your butt, and the body and the brain will follow, man.
So this highlight of your role, like what the meaningful of you having Chale Fuego and being able to do it, it's more for you know cigar is a hobby, right? I always say that we all know like it's not anything else. It's a hobby, something that we like, something that we enjoy, and that's what keeps. I think that's what keeps you going every day because what you just said, like just different things. So, is that what keeps you going every day for Chale Fuego? Is just
Well, first of all, I just like cigars. I like smoking cigars. I like the ambiance uh, of having a cigar with a friend. I like shooting the shit with somebody and talking about just anything comes to it. To me, that's the cigar experience, being able to just unwind, relax, and enjoy company. And Charlie Fuego's tagline is bringing the cigar lounge experience to you. Because I started going to various cigar lounges and enjoying just the camaraderie that's in there. I mean, you can even talk about politics. People aren't getting pissed off at each other. I mean, it's you might have strong conversations, but that's what they are. They're not arguments. And it was one of those things where I felt I just wanted to bring that experience to everybody else. Going to various weddings or different events and stuff like that, and having 5 cigars when there's 6 people. To me, I saw a need. I saw a need, and I figured, hey, you shouldn't have to drive to the bricks and mortar, the local bricks and mortar when you're having an event, a wedding. Have this stuff there for these people. And I've done a couple of weddings in the past couple of months, and it's been really, really awesome. The feedback we've gotten, the pictures we've gotten. I just did one recently where it didn't look like the bride wanted it too much, but it turned around, and after the fact, she gave me so many compliments. She was like, "Thank you so much. Everybody loved it, and it's a great surprise, and people like cigar."
I guess she was more surprised how many liked them they didn't like them.
Well, I don't know. She was taking pictures with the cigars and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, that does it.
I did some homework before I got into this thing. I wanted to make sure I was doing the right thing. And one of the things that I found out was, they thought that the cigar industry was going to kind of go under with COVID. And what ended up happening was it seemed like they injected it with steroids. And now this business is projected to increase 5 times at least in the next 5 years.
So what are some of the things that just blown your mind since you've started it? What are things and
The interest and the intrigue, and also, what's really blown my mind is that there's a lot of people out there that are afraid to ask about it. You can talk about a big burly dude walk up and he's never had a cigar, and he's afraid to go into a humidor or into a bricks and mortar because he doesn't want to look stupid. And that's the thing that surprises me the most. Where they're just, so sometimes cigars are intimidating. The cutting, the lighting, the proper way of smoking a cigar. There's a certain I guess etiquette to it, and I think that's the thing that's pretty surprising. Also, the fact too that there's so much to learn. Like I said, some people want to call me an aficionado. I am not an aficionado by any means. Far from it. I'm just a fan, and I learn something new every day.
it's so funny when you say it because you know, for me, I would just say, "Hey, Dan, what you got? What's up? What do you got coming? What do you have on the thing?" And you would, yeah, I got some of these. You want some of them? Yeah, I'll take some of those. Yeah, let's get some of those, Dan. I'm trusting your path and what you're going to hand over to me, and that's been good. I have a stock full, and I love to support you, and I love to support Charlie Fuego.
I appreciate
And
it.
watching you go through this and seeing your trailer because you have your mobile trailer, your lounge, I should say, right? Because it's up. And this is now that you come back out of kind of your first football season with it, you're gonna come back into sports here in another couple of months. So
I was pretty afraid of how it was going to work out, and thank God. I mean, it's over at Divine and Coach Gomez over there, and coming to an agreement with him on how things were going to work with it. But again, what it took was directness. I had to be direct with him, and I had to be honest with him, and he was the same way back. They held up their end of the bargain, and I held up my end of the bargain. We had a pretty damn good defense. He never had to ask me. We were ready. The kids were always prepared, and it's one thing that I bring to the table is efficiency. And I take that same type of attitude towards Charlie Fuego. And it's just weird how it's like the Midas touch with this thing because everything that I seem to touch or every kind of idea that me and my wife talk about and discuss and we try to exploit. It seems to work with Charlie Fuego. That first thing was the branding, where we actually have our own brand of cigars out there. They're Cuban seed. They're grown in Nicaragua, wrapped in Nicaragua. I've got a Connecticut version, and I also got a San Andrea Maduro
oh shit,
version, and they're really, really good cigars. And I've next, the thing is, I started putting them in some liquor stores down in Divine, Hondo, and Castroville, and there's no greater joy than to go over there. And I go there at least once a week, and I go in there and I see those things missing, and I have to restack them and put them in, and then have to restock them, and it's awesome. It feels good because they're to me it tells me that the product that I'm selling is something that people like, and it enhances what they're doing.
so was the Charlie Fuego cigars your first business idea, or is that what you just?
I think we all had a bunch of different business ideas when we were younger. This is the first one that I did some T-shirts back in the day, and yeah, I found out about licensing and the legalities regarding that with our Go Spurs Go T-shirts. But
No canopy on a street corner.
Oh man, I tell you what, but I found out, and me and my buddy, but everybody wants to get rich quick, and I'll tell you what, going into this thing, there was a lot of uncertainty, and it was scary, just to be straight up and honest. I was afraid, and but one thing that I've learned is fear um, shouldn't control my life, and fear doesn't control my life. I'm not saying that I don't have any fears out there, but I trust in God. Uh, I keep my side of the street clean, and I help a lot of other people, and because of that, for some reason or other, God has seen that these things work. I guess. I mean, I don't know. So it's just been it's been awesome to see this thing grow. We're excited about the future. We have different avenues of Chale Fuego. We've got the event side. We've got the cigar branding, we're probably about 2 months away from premium branding, where I can start calling on various cigar shops and hopefully getting some of my cigars in these places. And then of course we've got the where I'm putting them in different liquor stores and things like that. I also have a rental division where I'm renting humidors to other bars and restaurants. And it's going to take some time, and eventually, who knows, man? It might pull me away from football. I don't know, but I don't have to make that choice today.
So these are your visions for Chile Fuego, right? So you're trying to combine your passion with this, and so right now, of course, being a consejo, part of the Rafael organization and whatnot, and I see you a lot at our community engagements. So is that what you see? You try to get more involved with community and stuff like that, or just try to get Chile Fuego more on the map? But I mean, obviously, possibly your in route is just without having a brick and mortar, just being able to do that.
Well, bricks and mortar might be in the future too. That might be an avenue that me and Teresa, my wife, and business partner, that might be an avenue we look into. But so far, right now, we're going to keep our overhead low. We're gonna continue to make progress with what we're doing right now. And I'll tell you what, the humidor rental thing is not something that I came up with myself. That is something that the owner of that establishment proposed to me. I only went in there looking for an event. And I'm telling you, it's like the Midas touch, man. I knock on a door with Charlie Fuego, and for some reason or another, it turns to gold. This gentleman straight up and asked me, "Is like, why don't you rent me a humidor and you be my cigar man?" So I'm like, "Yes, done."
I don't know, but I'm gonna take care of that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and I mean, I was honest with him. I said that wasn't part of the deal. That wasn't part of what I was looking for or what I wanted to do at the beginning. But let me look into it. Let me crunch some numbers. Let me see if this is feasible, if I can handle this. Because the last thing I want to do is make a promise to somebody and not be able to keep it.
Nice, yeah, Matt. That's the Lord is working upon you in ways that you can't see right now. I tell everybody, I'm like, some reason there's a door that opens, or there's a door that I got to knock on. It will say, "Hey, you need to knock on the door." I don't know what's fucking behind it. I have no idea, but somehow there's a door that just got there, and I'm like, well, I better knock on it, and I better see what's in there. And then I always say this all the time, like, and my kids always say, "Man, you're like a freaking cat. Somehow you end up back on your feet. The worst thing could ever happen to you, and you're back up." I said, well, it's not because of that. I think it's because like when you're doing shit and you're doing shit right, people are watching, and people are watching from afar, and they see like how hard you work and do what you do. And that's why another thing is part of ambition is because if you do things right and people are watching, that just helps you.
Well, people are always watching, and
Yeah.
it's about doing business.
No, my are like yes.
Yeah, it's about doing business not just for yourself, for your gratification or to make. I mean, don't get me wrong, we don't get into business to lose money. But the way you do it, at least the way I've done it, is trying to enhance the lives of the people that I come across. People are interested in cigars, uh, so I tell them about it. I provide cut and light service. I provide education, what I know about it. I have different ways of tailor making an event for them, whether it's them just getting the cigar lounge and then having a cash bar with cigars, or whether it's actually me getting cigars labeled for them with their whatever event, what it might be. It might be a wedding. I know loves to use the cigars. They go out. Ronnie's been a great supporter of us. and he's done multiple events with his label on them. That's like a business card. It's better than giving out a business card.
And who's that, Ronnie?
Yeah, Ronnie Suarez.
Oh, yeah, Integrity Roofing, yeah.
He loves it, and he loves it, and they do
That
it
dude's a good dude, man. He and his wife are great partners. They do a lot.
100%. I'll tell you what, they've been in business for a long time for a reason. So what better person, what better business to partner up with and put on Charlie Fuego cigars? It's been great.
Integrity.
And integrity, yes. So it's been great.
And these are some of the things I think that we face in challenges, right? Because you just said it. You want to keep your overhead low. You want to try to do what you can and try to stockpile some of this revenue that you're making. And then once you do that, then you have money coming towards the business. And then you do that. And if you do that the right way, then you don't try to bite off more than you can chew. Because then when you have to start lying to people and telling them, oh, I can do this, this, and this, and then you get caught up in something where now you're so far under that you can't keep up with everybody, you're in a bad position. Like now you're overwhelmed.
Well,
and you can't keep your commitments.
Yeah, well, when you're a football coach and a teacher, and you've got time constraints like lesson plans, and you've got a football game and practices and things like that, the time management issue is huge. So when people ask you about certain events and stuff like that, the most important thing to do is to get as much information as you can, find out exactly what their vision is, and try to give them what they want. If they want blue, give them blue. Don't give them purple. That's not what they asked for. Give them blue. So I just try my best to find out what people's needs are. And that's one thing that I've learned also, because before I was a teacher, I was in medical sales. And one of the things that I learned about, complaints and things like that, it wasn't necessarily that they were complaining, was because that they wanted something, and it was our job as salespeople, as business people, it's my job as a coach to find out what that objection really means. Is that objection, are they afraid of losing something, afraid of not getting something that they want? Those are the reasons behind it. And my job as that salesperson, as that football coach, because as a coach, I'm a salesperson.
Yeah.
I am selling my fundamentals, the way I run a defense, what I believe in, my techniques. I'm selling that to those kids, and they have to understand what I'm looking for, and I got to find out why they can't get it or what it is that I'm explaining incorrectly. Same thing with the Charlie Fuego business. I find out what people want, and then I try to turn around and give it to them that direction.
So tell me some of your milestones that you've achieved that you've loved doing right now. Like so far you've gotten into this and you've done this. Is there anything that's sticking out towards you right now that you've just like you feel?
Well, I mean, the milestones with regard to Charlie Fuego being the first year thing was huge. I didn't think it was going to be that big, but it felt really good, and it just so happened to occur on the same weekend that I was meeting my accountant for the first time for taxes and whatnot.
Oh,
And
yeah, that's always fun.
to see everything in black and white on paper, itemized, and to see the success, to see the failures, uh, that was really really awesome for me. And yeah, to me it was a proud daddy type of moment. At the same time, a grateful type of moment that I didn't lose my ass. And to see my wife proud of what we've accomplished and where we're going with it. That's a huge milestone. But I'm not sure if you remember the first year we did this was at a golf tournament, and we started off with academy tent and a 6 foot folding table and cigars that I purchased full price for and slung them. I had been talking about it with our good friend, our mutual friend Abe, for about a year. We were talking about this thing, and
Lot?
Abe Luna.
Luna. Why I say Lana? That's
okay. Well, the same reason why I said infinity instead of integrity. I get mind boggled sometimes. Yeah, of course it's integrity.
Good old Abe. he's the sheriff imposter.
I tell you what, man, that dude. If there's anybody's ear that I needed to bend, he was just the right person at the right time. God put him in front of me, and he's got a lot of business acumen. He's very smart as far as business is concerned, and I was able to bend his ear, and he gave me some very good advice, and more than anything, it was a true friend and just listen. And business owners need that. I need that as a coach. I have mentors. I got a group of guys that I contact daily as football coaches, people that are not that I work with, but other men that are out there that are going through the same things that I. And that's important. We're not on an island. Human beings are social people, and we need to be around other people.
Some of them.
Yeah, well,
There's some still sitting in the room that never come out.
well, there's a reason for that. Maybe if they tried it, I don't know.
It's a scary situation, man.
It's funny. It's funny. People say that I'm an extrovert, and I'm not an extrovert. I'm highly introverted, and I've had to learn how to go out there and be social and talk to people and listen. Really, more than anything, listen. And that just comes with maturity, man. It just comes with maturity. It just comes with putting yourself out there and not being afraid.
That's cool. So tell me, let's talk about what are some of your hobbies like other than cigars? Are there any like your passions or how you unwind? Go to the coast, you sit on the beach.
Dude, that's it right there. I could sit out there for hours and just relax on the beach, fall asleep, listen to a ball game, listen to music all night long. I love going to rock and roll concerts. Now I can remember them.
Damn.
And now I have money to buy a shirt. So I mean, I love going to rock shows. I love going to, dude. Believe it or not, I like going to theater.
Really?
Oh yeah, my wife took me to a couple of shows, and I enjoy it, man. I really do. I think it's really great. I think those people are talented. I think it's funny because a lot if you can go see one show one time, and then the same show maybe a couple hours later, maybe the next event, and it's completely different. They have different personalities, much like cigars. It's supposed to be the same. It's written the same, but it's different. I've seen rock concerts, where I've followed a certain band, and I've seen them in San Antonio and then in Austin. And it's the same show, but it's different. It's got a different life, a different personality. So man, I like sitting on the beach.
Like long walks on the beach.
I like playing golf.
There we go.
I'm not very good at it, but I enjoy it, and that's one thing too, man. I won't go throw my club in the lake there, but I know when to pick up my ball. I know the etiquette of it. And if I'm playing with people or there's somebody behind me, I know when to let them go by. But I go out there and I enjoy the sunlight. I just do. I like being out.
So is this how you create your? Is this how you create your work life balance? Is trying to you do because you're full time into coach. You're into your coaching. You're into Chale Fuego, and then you find your balance to relax. And these are your things that you find to relax because I think the biggest thing we always try to find is where are we going with work life? Like how are we just trying to sit there and have our best part of ourselves and still be able to do what we need to do because we all go out and create a living, right? I mean, I got a rich uncle in Washington. I just want him off my ass. I want him to get a job.
Brother, I get paid to smoke cigars. Chale Fuego is basically I get paid to smoke cigars, and that's part of it. But there's nothing. Me and my wife, we enjoy watching. We'll binge a movie or binge a shows, and we'll just watch them until the end. And we'll just we have this rule where we can't go ahead once we start it. And it's like cheating. So I mean, we watch a lot of television together, stuff like that. Me and my wife are empty nesters, and we're learning how to do that. My two boys, my pride and joys, Kaleb and Jonathan,
How are they?
they're grown ass men. Caleb's 26, Jonathan just turned 21, and he's a world traveler. And Kaleb is working full time, and he lives on his own, bought his own house already. And
Damn.
these guys they hardly ever come to us for anything. They don't need anything. They've got pretty much everything taken care of, and it's sad for me and Teresa because we want to be mom and dad still, but at the same time, seeing these guys be men and be able to take care of themselves, and I'm not going to say that they don't ever ask for help. They do, but the fact that they're able to lets us know that we've done the right thing. So it's exciting to see where they're going with their lives, and Chale Fuego, part of my reasoning for Chale Fuego is to give them something also.
So what's living on life's terms mean to you? What's that?
Living on life's terms. Oh boy, I wrote that down, didn't I?
No.
Yeah, living life on life's terms is basically, I don't know, maybe growing up, I used to think that life was taking a dump on me. It was me. It was, why does it always have to be me? I told you about bad timing, Dan. And well, I've learned to be able to, you know, continue to move forward, regardless of what's happening around me. Uh, in football, you're not always going to get the completion that you need. You're not, I've been through many games. We had a game this year where I swear to God, we stopped them on fourth down twice, and the dang officials gave them the first down, and they ended up tying the game and winning the game in overtime. We won. We stopped them. We would have run out the clock. But it wasn't something I needed to. Yeah, I was upset, and yeah, the kids were hurt, but it was a lesson for us to understand that not things aren't always going to go our way. Things aren't always going to be peaches and cream. There's going to be some hard times in life, and living life on life's terms is being able to move forward with some integrity and put one foot in front of the other to be able to answer the bell the next day.
So, what are some of the experiences that you'd like to give to somebody who either wants to start smoking cigars, start their own business, or maybe even better, somebody who wants to start getting into coaching? Like, what are some of the routes that you think they should start taking? Let's go with like what they want to do to start getting into coaching, and then we'll go into business and like cigars, because you can't do the first two without being able to get to the cigar. So you got to get those things down.
Well, I always tell kids that first thing I always tell them, because I did this the wrong way. I went backwards, right? First of all, it took me a long time to finish my bachelor's, and again, I told you about quitting school and having the grand idea that I was going to make life on my own and without an education. I probably could have had to start Charlie Fago back then, but not where I was at. I think it was necessary for me to go the route that I did. Um, when it comes to coaching and kids talking about it, I always tell them coach and teach if that is the only thing that you can see yourself doing. If you really, really want to, because I hate for somebody to start off and get into this business and find out that they don't love dealing with other kids' problems, dealing with other kids' parents, dealing with maybe administrators that aren't really really good. I mean, I've had some administrators that were very not good. They weren't good people, and but I've also had some really awesome people that I've had as administrators and people that were just good men and women and so but ultimately the thing that doesn't change, the thing that's always the same, and it doesn't matter if you work in Austin, if you work in Marble Falls like me, or in San Antonio ISD, the kids are always good. The kids are good people, and they deserve the best, and they deserve somebody that wants to be there. So I always tell kids to do that. uh, Now, my football players that want to be coaches, I always tell them, the best thing to do is to go to college, first of all, and whether you're a player or not, somehow, some way, get yourself in the door with those coaches, whether it's being an assistant VA or assistant volunteer coach or something. Go in there and do something with them. If again, when there's a will, there's a way. If that's what you really want to do, you'll find a way to do it. As far as Charlie Fuego is concerned, Jesus, man, I took my lumps that first couple of months, and especially with licensing and making sure that I had everything to do this legally. See, the business is named after my grandfather, and the logo itself, Javi Munoz, is a good friend of mine, Central Catholic, also another one of the Brotherhood. And I told him what it was about, And he came out with a logo with the parrot and the hortensia flowers on the side, and those two things represent my grandfather and my grandmother. So I made the
What's her name? Hortensia?
hortensia.
Okay, sounds mine. That's cool.
Hortensia, yeah. So when I named this thing Chale Fuego with that logo, made a commitment to do things the right way. I wasn't going to, not pay my taxes. I wasn't going to not protect myself with insurance, things like that. And and I had to register through the comptroller. And things. By the way, that was probably the hardest thing because it was just so many different loopholes. I needed to ask the advice of an attorney, and it was worth it. It was worth it because he was able to get everything done within a day or two.
Oh shit! Of course they are.
Yeah, so I mean, it was expensive, but I mean, at the same time, I mean, it was well worth it for my time because if I didn't have a job or something else to worry about as far as my education side, the academia side, maybe I would have been able to do it. But I needed to help somebody that was a professional, and I guess that would be the main thing: is know when to ask for help, and don't be afraid. And when somebody helps you, when somebody gives you the help, take it.
100.
Oh my God, there's some people that ask for help sometimes, and they'll ask for help and then they didn't hear what they want to hear. So they'll go ask somebody else to see if they can get what they want. And God, I used to be the same person. I used to be that same dude. If I didn't hear what I wanted to hear, then I would just go ask somebody else, and then go ask somebody else, and then go ask somebody else. Uh, it's it's crazy. It's a
Yeah, you want to find some validation that you're right. When you know what, you're not fucking right. Because somebody that you just paid for to tell you this is it. Like this again, the truth is expensive, right?
exactly
You
exactly
right?
My grandfather used to always say, "It takes a bite to learn."
No, oh shit.
So and I've taken enough, man. I've taken enough fights, and I just want to do this thing the right way and honor them the correct way. I think for the second year, I've mentioned this. Uh, I mentioned this on a post on Facebook, but for the second year, I want to dedicate the second year of Chale Fuego's existence to the memory of my mother, Dolores Galindo, who was an entrepreneur herself, and she was running after her medical career, she was running a cell phone company, and she was always looking for something that a business of her own. And I remember coming home from that first day of at that golf tournament of Charlie Fuego's existence, 2024, April 11th, and my wife said, "Your mom's happy. Your mom is in heaven, and she's happy." And because she was an entrepreneur too, so I guess maybe that's where I get that entrepreneurial spirit.
I remember your mom.
Thank you.
Remember her, man, lovely lady. And
Thank you.
I think even when my mom had to drive you home after I got in trouble, I couldn't take anything my mom made.
Oh my God! There's so
I don't know how. Honestly, we'll go back there real quick. I don't know how we lifted my car off the street.
Bro, I don't even remember that. There's so many things, man. That's the thing. Like to tell the two different lives. I'll get the tap on the shoulder, or somebody will say, "Hey, you remember me?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, which part of my life is this from?" And I'm willing to go through it, because part of my life is making amends for some of the things that I did wrong, and to me, it's been a blessing. That's why I'm where I'm at right now. Now, would I change anything back then that if I had an opportunity to change a decision that I made, I couldn't say that I would. And the reason why is because all that stuff has gotten to me where I'm at right now. And the truth of the matter is, I'm pretty content. I live a decent life, a great life. I have a beautiful wife I love and loves me, and my two sons are doing well, and they're healthy, and I just the business is rolling pretty good, and I can't say that I would change anything. If I were to change anything back then, maybe I wouldn't have what I have now.
Well, I mean, I feel like we all, man.
What's that? The butterfly effect? Is that the butterfly?
Is that, yeah? I'm going to say I'm telling you, I don't know how I've survived this long. I don't know how I've been able to be so fortunate to be in a position I'm in. I've got a great family, a great wife. I think, her keeping when I met her, I was already going through a divorce, my first divorce, and I was done. I was like, okay, I'm just not gonna do this again. I'm not getting married again. I did that like for 13, 14 years, however that one lasted, and then I just felt like I walked in and there was an angel there in front of me. And I wasn't looking for it, and I feel like my grandpa named her Hortensia, by the way.
Yeah.
Like she put this girl here for me, and it was nothing that I was looking for, but that moment changed the rest of my life from where it is today. And I thank goodness that there are a lot of things. And by this time, I was what? Excuse me. I was in like mid 30s, almost 40s, I think, at the time. But
Damn.
Somewhere around there. I can't. I got to go back and look at timelines. It's pretty bad. I can't remember. But it is what it is. We have these things that are in front of us, and God puts those things for us, and there's a divine intervention up there, and there's always somebody there looking out. Like I lost my dad. That was very hardening for me. And when you lose a parent, it's very bad. And
he was a good man, man. He had so many times that he could have ripped our ass, especially with a boat. For those of you that don't know, Mike, we used to go. Me and Chuck would go out with Mike on the boat almost every week, and during the summer, and I can remember. I remember your pops getting mad about some of the things that we would do.
I would tell him, it was funny because I was in high school, so I came from Bernie to Burbank, and I was like, all right, I had known some people, but I didn't know a lot. Coming to new school, whatever. And so I said, hey. So I asked a couple of girls out, and they're like, no. I'm like, man, they're pretty hot. I mean, all right, well, okay. Well, then, slump buster time.
You bring out the Mark Gray slump buster.
I was like, all right. I said, you want to go out? She was like, okay, great. I was never got asked to go out. I'm like, we had before all that time we always talking about before cell phone. So I was like, all right. I called my dad. I'm like, Dad, I need the boat. I'm gonna take because we had a boat at Canyon Lake and we had a boat at Medina Lake.
Yeah.
That's why I told my dad, I need the one at Canyon Lake ready. Can you have them put some Bartles and James for me on there? Bartles and James. Some wine coolers and stuff for me, please, and have them unload it and set it in the water because it was on a rack. So they had to pull it off of the forklifts and put it in the water for me, and it was there. I'm like, so I took the girl to Paisano, the one right there on McCullough.
Yeah, pulling out all the stuff,
dude. All right, I want to be known for some shit. And took it went there, where are we going? I'm like, oh, just going out. I fucking kept going out 281 and got to, it was crazy one at the time when it had that big boat launch. And what are we doing? I'm like, don't worry about it. I got we got to the boat. Who's I'm like, it's my boat. It's your beautiful boat. Oh, it's my parents' boat, but I got this. Let's go. But I turned all the lights on, and I knew Cannon Lake very well, so went out there in the middle of the water, and she was like, "Oh my god!" By the time we got back, and by Monday, holy shit, all those girls said no. I was like, "No, I'm good. Fuck it." But my dad really took care of me, man. He was the best. I love him to death. I miss him every day. The biggest thing, like why we have F1 is because F1 meant help on the keyboard, and for us, for that was for him because they went in and did a lot of work. Once he got paralyzed and they did that procedure to try to relieve the pressure on his neck, they paralyzed him. So the contractors were coming in and trying to do. They were taking the money from the VA and not finishing the project. And my dad was just pissed. He was like, "I need you to do something, and I need you to do this." At this time, I was just starting Kilgore. I'm like, "Dad, what do you want me to do?" I'm like, "I don't know. What do you want me to do?" I'm sorry. I think I was at Spark. One of the two. And I was like, what do you want me to do? He goes, "I can't have anything on my name, but we need to do something to save the veterans because they're getting screwed over."
Yeah.
And so once we started all that, and we came up with a name, like I said, F1 was help on the keyboard. So I said, let's just do F1. We'll just do F1 Electric. And it's residential. I'm going to help you. I'll get it started so that we can GC the project for you at your house, and I'll get the contractors, and we'll run it through.
Yeah.
Well, he never got to see because it was COVID. And so getting a license during that time was fucking stupid. What should have taken 2 to 3 weeks took 3 months. Right? He died. When he died, the week after he died is when I got my license. I got confirmed on everything. So he was just like, it was crazy. And that phone call that I got from my sister, it was like, so I'll tell the story. I don't think I've told this yet or told to anybody. I was in Kerrville. We were doing some work, and I was coming back, and I know he woke up around 10:30 or so. I'm giving him a call, and then I got on a phone call, and I didn't get a chance to call him. And I came back to San Antonio, and I got really busy. I started working, and I said, "Shit, I'll call him. I'll call him around 1. 1 o'clock came. I didn't call him, and then started working, and I said, oh, shit, it's already 5 o'clock. I'm cooking dinner, and I'll call him after. I'll call him after I cook dinner. I didn't call him. I said I'll call him before I go to bed, and I didn't call him, and then I just went to bed. And then at about I don't know about 10, 12, something like that, I jumped out of bed. I just jumped out of bed, and I was like, fuck, I never fucking called him. So I just sent him a text. I said, hey, Dad, I just want you to know I love you. Sent him a text. A few minutes later, my sister calls. She was like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm fucking sleeping, man. It's like, what do you think I'm doing at this time? She was like, well, Dad's gone. I want to tell you, like, Dad's gone. I'm like, well, where the fuck did he go? She's like, no, he's gone. I'm like, well, where did he go? Like, what do you mean he's gone? She was like, no, he just died. I'm like, what the fuck? And I just, like, jumped out of bed. I got Kim up. And my dad, his house is 45 minutes away from me. It was raining that night. Like, raining. I put that car in, like, that slippery mode that Kim has. Those fucking, what was that thing? Aviator. Coming up from Thousand Oaks, up Boulevard Road, all the way to fucking 281. I was doing over 100. I didn't stop it. I ran through every fucking red light. I made it there in 20 minutes. My Kim was like, we're gonna die. I'm like, I don't care. At this point, I don't fucking care. Yeah. And he was already like, my dad was 6'6", so for them to try to get him out of that, he was paralyzed. For them to try to get him out of the chair, and he was laying on the floor when I got there, and I just curled up with him like a little kid, like when I was a baby. He used to hold me. I got under the blankets with him, and I just fucking did it. So for me, that was the worst. And I didn't think that was going to affect me so much, but man, it affected me for a while. It really hurt, like when you lose a parent. And I tell everybody, like, never think that you have anything wrong. I always tell the parents, when you're fortunate enough to have your parents around you, enjoy those days. Don't give it. It's don't take those days for granted, and don't take it. And that's why I tell everybody, like, you memorize you see your logo, and you look at that flower, you look at that, and that's your motivation to keep you going the right way. I was like, for me, I see my logo, I do it because it's for my dad and whatever. But sorry about that. I didn't want to get on that, but I just know that when we go through things, and I've known for. And by the way, he calls me Mike. I'm Eddie. I'm the same person.
Well, we can also call you Fish.
Yeah, we can't call me Fish because that's on my cup. And so then that's when we started. So the reason for Alamo City Ambitions was to really come on, get people involved, talk about your story, talk about what you're doing, what you strive for, how did you become in where you're at. And I really want to thank you, Danny, for coming on. And I appreciate you. I've really been waiting for this, just to get this going and get this off the ground. You and I have been talking for a long time, and I'm finally glad that we got to get this done, because this is one of the biggest things I've been wanting to do. Because the whole part about Alamo City Ambitions is to have a cigar, have some whiskey, have some, I get Topo, I get it. And then just sit here and relax, chill out, tell our good stories, tell our good appeal about other people. How can we help you? How can we help others maybe try to figure out what y'all want to do in life, or what got us there, what other people went through. And I just think that there are so many other stories to tell about our ambitions and how you don't sit there and try hard enough. And I just told this to Danny a little bit ago. I was like, off air. I was like, it's so funny. Like, the people who just barely show an ounce of just just that much ass can get promoted. When we were coming through and I was working like to get that much ass, still wasn't getting promoted, trying to do anything, we weren't moving. Now, if you just do a little bit, you're like, oh my God, the guy's showing up 4 days a week. And, you know, he misses, we have 5. But
give him a cookie.
I mean, fuck, he's there. Yeah, right. You get a trophy. Well, fuck, it's so hard for me nowadays just to give a little bit of ass. It's just so much of that. So I really want to thank you for coming on. I definitely appreciate you. I want to be able to one day show up at some of your cigar events, one of your events, and we'll do a remote podcast with people and get them involved and see what comes out of that. And if that works out, then see what we can do, and we can get that. So, do you have any upcoming events that you're going to be somewhere that you can have people come out and visit you and buy some smoke from you and sticks?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we got one of the major events that's coming up right now is the Never Give Up Hope Music Festival. That's going to be over at Mountain Breeze Campground off of the Guadalupe River in New Braunfels.
Oh yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. It's a 2 day event. The proceeds are going to benefit pediatric cancer. We're also going to be at the Rafael Consejo Boulder Tournament.
Yes.
It's going to be the second year that we're doing it with them, and it's going to be at Aggie Park. And for people that don't know, the Consejos are they have an educational foundation. I have some kids at Divine that actually applied for those scholarships and,
Oh, good.
and whatnot. So it's we got a bunch of different events. I got some private things coming up for private parties, things like that. But if people want Chocolate Fuego to come out to them, I mean, we're also going to be at in Lytle on the 10th of May, and that's going to be at Rooster's Bar. It's going to be the second time we've gone in 2 months. We had such a great time the first time. The owner asked me to come back, and by the way, I think they're going to be one of our future people that have cigars. They'll have cigars down there with cigar humidor by Charlie Fuego. But if people want to get Charlie Fuego out to their events, whether it's a birthday party, corporate event, wedding, golf tournament, whatever, all they got to do is go to Charlie Fuego Cigars at gmail.com. You can also go to my Instagram, Charlie Fuego, at Charlie Fuego, and contact me there, and we'll get something going. Whatever the experience is that you want for us to enhance, we'll get that taken care of for you. We'll bring the cigar lounge experience to you.
That's it. I love it. I'll get your information posted uh, in the links below once we get all this out and it goes out, so that way they can contact you and kind of reserve it what it is, and these are the things we all look for. And I'm so happy. And man, this was actually such a good smoke. Like, I'm gonna put this one in my repertoire.
It's a good smoke, man. It's a good smoke, but we got to get you to smoke one of these.
So we'll probably do this here in a minute. I'll probably hit that one here once we finish up and just enjoy it. But I'm going to go through a quick fire with you. So these are some quick fire questions.
Ooh, quick fire.
Quick fire.
Let's go.
All right. One of the favorite things we like to do, right? So let's see what we got. So tell me, so as an aficionado of San Antonio, and I'm going to say taco guru, what is one of the first tacos you like to try at a place to make sure it's legit? Like, do you have like a go-to taco to make sure?
That'd be the barbacoa, dude.
So you got to judge them by if they do that right, everything's right.
I judge the barbacoa and I judge the menudo.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
I mean, you can tell a lot about a place on how they make the menudo and what
when it's clean, when it's nice and clean,
and what their barbacoa is like. Yeah, obviously that's the best way.
So who do you have for that?
Oh man, there's a place for the menudo. There's a place called it's on Blanco Road, and I absolutely love it. It's called Los Angeles. You ever been there?
No, where's that?
Just south of the Oblate, just kind of by you just keep on going towards Edison.
Okay.
Okay, just go south on the left hand side, little.
So it's before Fresno, or
I think so.
Okay.
I believe it's before this, before the McDonald's. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The Mickey D's.
Mickey D's, yeah.
All right.
That place right there. As far as barbacoa is concerned, man, I like Eddie's. Eddie's barbacoa is good, and then they really load it up. I went to a different place. I'm not going to mention the name, and it just wasn't. I went to a different place this weekend, and it wasn't.
Well, that.
Eh.
I get.
I tried it.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I have a hard time finding it around this area, and I don't look all the time. But
we go to Eddie's. We go to Eddie's Taco House quite a bit because
go on Thousand Oaks.
Yeah, on Thousand Oaks. And the funny thing is, Eddie's Taco House it's on Cevallos Street too, on the south side, and that's right down the road from Blessed Sacrament, where I went as a little chavalon.
So that's what I was going to ask you too, right? And I forgot to ask you where you went to elementary and middle school because I didn't get that.
I went to Blessed Sacrament, and then I went to St. James.
You went to St. James?
Yes, sir.
Really?
St. James the Apostle.
Well, my grandmother was Guadalupana there, and if you look at when you go into St. James, the concrete statue that's right there, I think we were the last names
Really?
Concepcion or Hortensia and Concepcion Valdez that are so. I'll go into this. Anyways, we'll get that one in a minute because I want to get off topic.
Okay.
Favorite? What's your favorite fiesta event?
Favorite fiesta event. And you know what? It used to be La Semana. Now we're going in IOSA, obviously. Uh, but La Semana came back last year.
Yeah, it's coming back this year.
I went to both of those events last year, and they had a great lineup. I wasn't too happy about this year's lineup, but we're going to hit it anyway. I'll tell you something that we've never done before, and I'm ashamed to admit it as a 52-year-old man that's grown up in San Antonio, but I've never been to the what is it, the
Chado? The Chado Ranch? The
I've never been there.
What?
I've never done it, man, and I grew up on the South Side, so we're going to make it a point to go this year.
Holy shit!
We love to go to the parades. We like the battle.
I see you every year. I make sure I come up to you.
Yeah, so the battle is great. I mean, Fiesta is an event that you can't miss. You got to try it once, and it's funny too, man, because you either love it or you hate it. And I've taken some visitors down here, and they're like, "Get me out of this shit."
That's why they're not from here.
Exactly. But you can meet a lot of people there. See that people that you haven't seen in years, or go with people that you know, or just make new friends down there. It's a great time.
I always used to call Oyster Bay a sunglass fest because you can see all the new fashion and sunglasses. Like, oh, those are fucking cool. Yeah, I like those.
Yeah, I haven't been to Oyster Bay in a while.
Same here.
Yeah, I haven't been to Oyster Bay in a while, but I mean, you've got an excuse. You've been really busy, and to be honest with you, I don't know, man. It's just I think the past couple of years, the weather's been kind of weird. We wanted to go. I think that Collective Soul there last year, and we wanted to go, and we were getting ready to go, but it was too damn cold. We decided to stay home.
It's weird that it was cold. That Oyster Bay.
Yeah, it was weird, but I don't know, man. We'll see what happens this year. Last year we had everything planned, and I swear to God, I think we only missed like 2 days of going to a fiesta, and by the time it was over, we were done.
Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do this year. Now my wife has a broken foot, so we'll see. I got a little mini scooter. I'll see how much she can put out, but I'll get around. We'll see. So let me ask you, what's if you go outside of San Antonio, you're outside of our area, what's one of the questions that you get asked that people know that you're from San Antonio? Or what do they ask?
It's about tacos. It's about the Spurs. It's about the river walk, things like that. Those are things that people.
The basement in the island.
Yeah, they want to know about they want to know if Charles Barkley's telling the truth or not.
FTP.
Charles Barkley, man. I saw that son of a bitch close down the Hemisphere Arena. I saw him do that. I remember that. Were you there, Dave? Where he hit that freaking tray over Dave, and oh my God, that was. But he never won a championship. Spurs
I was gonna say
the Spurs are on their way back. So there, eat that, Charles Barkley.
We got a few more years. I get it.
We're on the way back, though, man. We're smelling it.
So, what's your favorite '80s band?
My favorite '80s band. Ooh, boy, dang it. Yeah, I don't know, man. There was so much good music back then. People don't realize that. I don't know. Maybe is New Order an '80s band?
Yeah, they were definitely in the '80s, right?
New Order's got to be one of my favorite bands of all time, much less just from the genre of the '80s.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, but Chuck missed the bus to go to Depeche Mode from Central Catholic to go to Houston.
Did he really?
So that motherfucker, he calls me up and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh fuck, I don't know. I'm sitting here." And he's like, "Get ready, we're going." So we loaded up in a little fucking Daytona.
The one that you had to click 17 times. But yeah, like it was a certain number that the computer needed to reset. You had to click it 17 times.
That fucking Daytona, dude. I don't know. There's too many stories of that thing. So she calls me up. We fucking get ready and we haul ass. Now the bus probably left an hour before us, and we caught it on I-10.
Oh my God!
And we passed that whole bus, and we're fucking out. Fucking throwing beers out the sign, and people, everybody in us is like, "That's Chuck," and they're all laughing at us, and we fucking make it. So we go to Astroworld and see Depeche Mode.
That was after senior trip.
Was it? No, I don't know about that.
The senior trip for us the next year was to Astroworld as well, and we saw Eddie Money. That was great, man. We had a great time.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Back then you could smoke in the buses, and we had we had the windows down on the yellow dog, and we were was 18 years old smoking cigarettes in there, and yeah, they had to shut that down because someone decided to smoke some sweetgrass, so they had to turn it off.
What's your favorite cigar? What's your on to?
My favorite cigar right now is my Chale Fuego CF45 Maduro. That's my favorite one. I would rather smoke this one than anything I've got. Now, one that's out there that's really, really hard to get is the Andalusian Bull. And I'd say that's my favorite cigar if I could ever smoke it. But they're super hard to get. And, I think they were releasing them a couple of years ago, maybe once every 6 months, and I just haven't been able to find any. So it's not my favorite anymore.
Oh, well.
The Chale Fuego CF45 Maduro, you can get them from me. And you can also get them at Sip and Smoke in Divine. You can get them at LOL Liquors in Castroville, and Sip and Smoke again in Honda. And you can also get them at Rebecca Creek Distillery.
Oh, shit. Throwing Rebecca Creek out there. Look at that. It's right down the road.
Yeah, we've done an event over there. We're planning on doing more, but they've got Chale Fuego cigars inside their lounge. So make sure you go out to Rebecca Creek, and especially with the weather going the way it's going, get yourself a nice cigar out there, and a whiskey or a bourbon, whatever it is that you drink, or get a Topo Chico like me.
We got you. Hey, man, I definitely want to thank you for joining us with the Alamo City Ambitions, and thank you, Dan. I definitely appreciate you coming on. We're sorry Teresa couldn't make it. We're just definitely hoping to get you two guys on today, and your partner in life, your partner in business, and you guys make a great couple together. I'm so proud to be able to call you friends. Done a lot together with you. So I just want to say to everybody, remember, always keep striving for success. Remember that, my line that I always say is, you can't get in if you don't stand out. So one of those things about driving your life for success and driving who it is just give 100%, man. There's no half-assing anything. And you got to remember that 100%.